Greetings, my friends. Okay, we're going to start doing some show and tell type stuff with some of my finds, because a lot of you have been asking about some of the things that I've been finding, but not everybody knows what I've been finding, because obviously new people subscribe all the time. So I just thought this would be a neat little series. In the quiet hills above Temple Yule, I was metal detecting one day and I stumbled across quite a strange item. It was a lead matrix seal buried deep in the earth, and it had sat there for about 700 years until I'd found it. A matrix seal, of course, used to stamp wax a personal seal of some kind. But it didn't occur to me when I gave it to my finds liaison officer. They work for the British Museum, so if you're from another country, basically what you do is if you get anything which is historically relevant, you give it to them, and then they put it in within the database, and if it's treasure, then the whole system goes further. But I remember giving it to my Flo, and I remember her saying, "This is one of the best finds you've ever had." And I couldn't really figure out why at the time. I thought it's nice, it's a seal, it's a lead seal, but it's all beginning to make sense now. Wow, 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 wow. I just caught it with my shovel there. That's a shame, but that is, look, it's one of those seals. Dump. I think it's one of those seals that you put in wax and they put on letters. That is the first one of those I've ever found, if it is, and that is absolutely phenomenal. I am so made up with that. Look at that. God. Oh man, that is brilliant. I'm so happy. And I'm going to put this theory to you, and it's quite a good theory, I think. It's quite a solid one. And you can also ask the question, is this an artifact of the Knights Templar? So this is a lead seal matrix used in the medieval period to imprint wax seals. It's circular with a decorated armorial device, a heater style shield with a chevron, and around the edge is this Latin inscription. So the legend is only partial, you can only read it partially, but what we can see is this. It says S. Henrici WDS. Now the S stands for sigillum, which is Latin for seal. So this likely reads the seal of Henrici, so most likely the seal of Henry. So this is where it gets more interesting. The seal was found, as I said, on the outskirts of Temple Yule. Now Temple Yule used to be called Yule, and it was gifted to the Knights Templar in the 12th century. And they all lived there, trained there, and traded there for a long time. They even built their own church, St. Peter and St. Paul, as you can see here. So now we have this medieval seal, which was found on Templar land, which is the exact date that the Templars were active. So the finds liaison officer has dated it between the 12 and 14. The Knights Templars were slowly pulled apart about 13. Well, 1312 actually, completely dissolved by Pope Clement, who put the order out in 1312. Many members were arrested and tortured. The Grand Master Jacques de Molay was burnt at the stake in 1314, marking the complete end of the order's leadership. See, this is another thing that I find quite unusual about the seal as well, is the fact that it's a seal which would have been quite important, because it's got the chevron, it's got the shield on it, and it says the seal of Henry, so it's a personal shield, and it's in lead. Now typically seals are gold, silver or brass. Now the fact that it is in lead leads me to think that If the Knights Templar were disbanded, and of course Temple Ule is where they were stationed, then any correspondence from that point on would have to be easily hidden, as would the Knights themselves. That's why a lot of them went off into obscurity and disappeared. Great thing about lead is it's easily destroyed, it's easily melted. If that was found on you, you could get rid of it quite quickly, whereas gold, brass and silver, tougher metals, would take a lot longer to destroy. You had to be relatively important to have a matrix seal. They were used by landowners, clerks, knights, etc. Basically anybody with any type of authority. And as I said before, they were pushed into a document and served and acted as a signature. I mean, and this seal matrix could be from the knights themselves or someone acting on their behalf. It could actually be one of the only surviving marks of their identity, if it is a Knights Templar seal matrix. Now, the design shows a classic chevron, which was used in military circles, if you will. Now, obviously, chevrons weren't exclusive to the Templars. They'd often feature on shields of families with military ties, knights, or any other military personnel. I want to be clear, I'm not saying that this is a Knights Templar matrix seal, but there's so much that adds up to it. The fact that the Flow got so excited about it. And the thing is with them, they can't, she might have had an inkling as to what this was, especially where she knew where I'd found it, but she can't actually say to me, I think that's Knights Templar. She can't. You just can't do that. Historians are really thorough people, and they do a hell of a lot of research. She might have thought that, but she couldn't have actually said it. But she was excited about it. She was very excited about it. And again, I say, she said, this is one of your best finds, but she never said why. That's the first thing that pricked my ears up. And then you've got the iconography of it. So you've got the chevron, so it's of a military person. You've got the date, which sits absolutely perfect with the dates of the Templars, and then you've got the location. So all of these individual bits tick a lot of boxes, really. So this little bit of lead, circular bit here, is all that remains of a man's identity, and potentially all that remains of the Knights Templar identity around Temple Ule in this area. It's fascinating, isn't it? Look at that. How cool is that? A really interesting little thing. So what do you guys think about this? I think that you've got to keep an open mind, but at the same time, everything seems to add up with this. It really does. I think, personally, this is an exciting little artifact. Anyway, I'd love to know what you think. Thank you for watching, my friends. And don't forget, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe.